How much concrete is too much concrete when you're setting a fence? We got up this morning, nice and fresh. We had to travel out about 2 hours from the city. Today was a little bit exciting because we got to film it. We got to use the big red post puller in action. It was a big challenge. We went to the customer site and they had these two 6x6 posts in the ground. We looked down at the ground and I could see the actual stumps of concrete were pulled up from the heaving of the frost. And they were huge. I'm going to say 15-inch diameter and at least 36 inches deep. So that's a heck of a lot of concrete. Now you imagine having to get that out of the ground and in an area where you can't get a bobcat in. It's a perfect situation for the big red. We got it in, it was tight quarters, but the base was still large enough to manage the large stub of concrete there. So we're really reefing on it and pulling it up on the 6x6 posts. And you'll see how it's coming out of the ground with every stroke. And the reality was, it really wasn't backbreaking. That's one of the nice things about using the big red post puller. The jack is doing all the work. The base is holding the ground where it's supposed to be. And then that front arm is poised against the post. In this particular case, that was very helpful, that the posts were still in the concrete, because that gave us that extra leverage. I'm going to say we're at least 300 pounds worth of concrete coming out of the ground. So the challenge is, of course, as you guys know, once you get into the corner of somebody's property and there's another fence up against it, now you've got to manage to get around it. In fact, the concrete slab, as you're seeing, we actually have to cut a piece off of it. It was just so big. It was, I think, over 20 inches, so we just cut a little bit with the concrete saw so we could fit into the corner behind the shrub to be able to get the big red post puller in place. Anyway, the nice thing is the footprint was small enough that we could, in fact, get in there and start the process of wrapping the chain around that post and then using every click to pull it up out of the ground. You'll see, once it was out of the ground, it was really nice that we could pull it over on the wheels, and since the wheels are solid, they didn't collapse with the weight of that concrete slab that was there. And then we were able to tow it out of the way, which was really handy in this particular spot. The hardest part of the whole thing wasn't pulling the posts out of the ground, it was just getting the old fence out of the way and getting things situated so we could get in there. So when you guys are doing jobs, pulling out posts, keep that in mind. The actual process of pulling the posts out of the ground, that's the easy part. It's making sure you have access to that post and the area around it, or if you have to disturb another fence. All of that stuff is actually more work than pulling it out of the ground. So great day with the big red. It takes a lot of concrete to pull posts in 15 years ago. I guess they decided to fill that entire hole that they dug, which would have been a 14-inch diameter hole. But as you see, they didn't even go deep enough. They went 36 inches deep. In this particular area, they should have gone 48 inches deep, and that's why they were heaved out of the ground. But the other thing that I think was really impressive is what we tell people all the time. Posts in the water don't rot. You can see the bottom of this post still has a tag on the bottom of it, clearly marking that, you know, not even the paper rots at that level. It speaks to that, and it speaks to this particular post, who was old enough to have enough arsenic and copper in it that it didn't rot. It's the modern post that we really have problems with, and that's why we use the Postsaver and the fence armor around it. If you like this video, check out our other videos.